Hello and welcome to SPM Academy. I'm Deborah McGrath, Principal Product Marketing Engineer with ServiceNow and SPM Academy host. And joining us today, we're thrilled to have James Ramsey, Director of Outbound Product Management, to discuss and demo how ServiceNow can help you realize the potential of AI with SPM and our AI capabilities. And you're going to hear about how it all works, why it's important, and then see it in action in James' demo. And then we'll wrap up by sharing some resources and some really important upcoming events. So James has a ton to cover today. So let me quickly point out our safe harbor notice, and then I'll turn it over to James. While most of what we'll be discussing and showing are features that are currently available, there may be forward-looking statements that reflect the current beliefs of ServiceNow based on current information available. Your actual results may differ materially and should not be relied upon in making purchasing decisions. So with that, I'd like to welcome James. Help us all become a little smarter today about AI.
Thank you, Deborah. Hi, everybody. I'm James Ramsey, part of the Outbound Product Management team for Strategic Portfolio Management. So in today's session, what I thought we'd start out in looking in terms of strategic portfolio management and its role in helping organizations and helping you optimize the value of AI as you roll it out across your organization. And this is looking at AI in the larger picture, whether that's AI on the ServiceNow platform or whether you're using AI from Google, Microsoft, etc. How can you deliver that across your organization? Then we're going to look specifically at how we're putting AI to work within strategic portfolio management. And I'll give you a short demonstration around some of the capabilities we've delivered out the box and you'll find within inside the Xanadu release. And just before we go, I'm going to try and get 5 minutes to give you a sneak peek of what's coming just around the corner with the Yokohama release. So with that, let's get cracking. So everybody's talking about AI. Everybody's looking to deliver an AI strategy across their organization. And rightly so, because AI is promising to solve all those complexity issues as we're looking to drive change and innovation right the way across the enterprise. And that's backed up by lots of different independent surveys where we're seeing lots of executives seeing the transformational effect they see Gen AI will have through 2027. But if you think about 2024 was potentially when most organizations dipped their toe into AI and how it could be applied across their organization. Move fast forward into 2025, and it's all about how can we ensure we're getting a return on investment. We're going to deliver substantive value on our AI investment. So for that, we need to ensure that AI lives up to the hype, it delivers on its promises. But the fact of the matter is, looking at various different organizations, and certainly organizations I've talked with over the last 12, 18 months, a lot feel they're not really prepared in terms of how they go about rolling out and adopting AI successfully across the organization. And without a successful adoption, you're not going to get that return on investment. And part of the problem there is the actual framework that organizations are looking to put in place in order to deliver AI across the organization, how it allows them to roll it out, but also how it allows it to track, govern, and ensure we're not exposed to risks. So what we're going to look at, first of all, is SPM's role in ensuring we get the value from delivering AI. Now, we think about the building blocks you need to be successful in delivering your AI strategy. Well, you need to have a vision. What are we looking to achieve, and what are the targets we're going to look to put in place in order to measure success? We need then to identify all those AI use cases that we want to roll out across the business. We want to bring them together. We need to objectively assess them, prioritize them, and then from that, move forward in terms of planning out what that AI transformation roadmap looks like, and then look in terms of how we deliver all those initiatives. As we're doing that, we've got to link in with our enterprise architecture disciplines. We need to understand where AI is being deployed across the organization so that we can ensure we monitor any risk and we always stay compliant. And ultimately, as we go through this end-to-end process, we've got to ensure we're optimizing the value that AI is providing. We need to be understanding what the value is being delivered. And if we need to pivot plans, we need to be able to do that. Now, if you think about those 5 steps, it all screams the need for strategic portfolio management. And that's because an AI transformation is just like any other transformation or strategic initiative that goes across your organization. And we know the importance of having a strategic portfolio management approach in the successful delivery of those strategic initiatives. So through capabilities like the strategic planning workspace, which we'll see later on, the ability to define what those priorities are, then to roadmap our AI strategy, and then track how we're actually delivering on those priorities and the value being created, all through SPM. And we all know through SPM we can deliver work in lots of different ways, whether it's traditional projects, agile work. But if you think about from an AI perspective, lots of things happen very quickly. Lots of little experiments may be happening in terms of different AI technologies being tested out across the organization before we do a full rollout. These experiments are typically driven by AI incubation teams, and that's a perfect use case for collaborative work management, which is a new capability we introduced in strategic portfolio management. The ability to bring those incubation teams together very quickly, to plan out what we need to do inside that experiment, and also to expose that experiment onto our roadmap and any dependencies it may have in things we want to deliver in the future. And finally, with that link between SPM and enterprise architecture, we have that ability then to map and model how we're looking to utilize AI across the organization, both in our current state and our future state models. By tying together enterprise architecture and strategic planning, we're able then to have a better view of our risk posture and ensure that we're going to achieve compliance. So that was just a quick insight in terms of the importance of applying an SPM approach to enabling you to maximize the value of your AI strategy as you look to deliver it. Now we're going to look at how we're putting AI to work within strategic portfolio management. Now, one of the key elements and one of the key strengths of ServiceNow strategic portfolio management is it underpins the end-to-end life cycle from strategy through strategic planning, portfolio planning, all the way through to delivery and ultimately value realization. And through that end-to-end process, there's some key stakeholders that engage in utilizing strategic portfolio management, from business leaders through PMO to project and resource managers, development teams, etc. What we're looking to do by applying Now Assist to the end-to-end SPM lifecycle is to enable each one of those key personas to gain benefit through AI to make them more productive, to help them make better decisions, and ultimately to fast track value through that end-to-end lifecycle. Now, you may have seen similar diagrams in the past. This is something I use to depict our end-to-end cycle and how we look to transform our strategy into delivering value, whether it's related to the business or it's related to technology, from strategic planning through portfolio planning to that delivery of work. Now, what we've done through the Xanadu release is look to apply AI across that end-to-end lifecycle and provide some specific use cases for those key personas as we look across that end-to-end lifecycle, from business leaders all the way through to project managers and development teams. So whether it's looking at how we get more demand from across the organization through conversational demand, whether it's helping our product managers more quickly assess their feedback, or it's helping those various teams collaborate and be more effective in managing their documentation with summarized documentation. So lots of different use cases already there, standard out of the box. Now, what I thought we'd do at this point, let's come out of PowerPoint, and we're going to actually go and look in terms of what that looks like with inside the solution. So this is my Xanadu release. And first of all, I've come to the employee portal because I've got a new demand that I want to submit. And rather than me going through and clicking on a form and filling in a form, what I can do is actually engage with Now Assist directly. And I can say, I have a demand And what Now Assist is going to do is look for all the different types of submissions I might want to make. And across an organization, may define lots of different types of requests that can be made. So I can see here I've got a number of things such as I might want to create a demand, or maybe something specific around HR content I want to add to our training syllabus. I might have some generic types of work requests I want to make. But let's say I'm going to look at creating a demand. I can start that request. And rather than me be presented with a form, what Now Assist is going to do is ask me a series of questions. So it's going to take the user through the demand and ask them only the things that are pertinent to that type of request. So let's say we want to do auto categorization of product feedback. And as I enter my information, Now Assist will then look at why do we need that? We need product managers to react faster. And I'm taking through those various questions. I could even have things that, as I'm adding in my request, how I'm going to align this to the various key strategic initiatives. So this is aligned to customer-centric product innovation. I'm going to say this is probably going to be of medium level effort. And then what I'll do just for time today, I'm going to skip some of the non-mandatory questions around cost and around benefits. And then what Now Assist will provide me with is a summary of what I've entered in terms of asking those questions. Now I've made a mistake there in terms of the level of effort. So I can say I want to make a change. And in natural language, I can say change size to large. So Now Assist will go away and make that change so we can see in terms of the level of effort, that's now changed to large. I'm happy with that. I'm going to submit it, and that's a demand now in my demand pipeline. So that enables us to get everybody across the organization participating in that demand intake process because it's making it easier for people to use. Now, if I'm a product manager, I can be in a strategic planning workspace and using our feedback capability. And one of the things I do on a day-to-day basis, I get lots of emails from customers around feedback around our product. So in product feedback, this is giving me visibility around the products I'm looking after in my business customer portal. I can see the categories of feedback I've received, where that feedback has come from. I've even got things like sentiment analysis to look at. Now, everybody's talking about AI and how we get AI into products. So I can drill down into that section. I can look at all the AI related feedback. And if you think about the typical whirlwind today, I'd have to look at all of those emails individually, go in, read them, then assess them and decide what I want to do. A very time-consuming process. What I can do here, I can quickly look at selecting all the feedback items I'm looking at. I can click on my summarize button. And what Now Assist will now do is do a summary of all of those feedback items, bring me back a bulleted list of the things I need to know about, and immediately then I can put that information from Now Assist into action. So I can link it to a product idea, or I could create demand directly, or an epic, or a project, or wherever it is, and drive forward an action that information from Now Assist. If we move forward into the process, let's look in terms of enterprise agile planning. Now, throughout that end-to-end process, you'll have seen on the slide I showed previously the ability to add AI in the context of documents. So right the way across strategic portfolio management, we've introduced what we call the Docs tab. So this is enterprise agile planning. I'm looking at the agile work from my business customer portal team, and I can see all the epics currently being worked on. As I drill into docs, I can see I've got a couple of documents there, one of which is release notes. As I drill into that document, this will give me information around what's in those release notes. And I can see I've been at message to actually shorten the introduction paragraph. And With docs, these are fully collaborative, so other people can come in and collaborate around creating these documents, and we can reference other information on the platform, like referencing records, etc. Now, what I could do, I could pick the paragraph up, I could look at Now Assist, and I could click on Shorten, Summarize, or Elaborate. Or if I want to summarize the entire document, I can simply click on Summarize, and that will provide me a summary of the overall release notes document, which I can take that text and actually put in the document should I wish to do so. Now, Docs is available right the way across SPM inside the project workspace, inside the strategic planning workspace, inside product feedback, and that use of AI is available right the way across. Now, the final use case we're going to look at now is something we rolled out in the November store release, and it's called the Project Insights email. So if I'm a project manager working inside the project workspace and I'm looking at my project, I've got the ability to set up an email project summary. And what I can do here is set a schedule by which I want this summary to be created. And what will happen as that email is scheduled, Now Assist will then generate me the content relating to what's happening in the project. So just as an example, what I'm just going to do here is just bring up an example of what that email looks like. And we can see it's broken down into a series of sections. And what Now Assist will do is generate this format of email. And inside each section, will provide information and links to various elements of the project. Give me insight to what's happening inside my project without me actually having to come into ServiceNow to understand what's going on. And should I want to action anything that the email is telling me, I've got the link that'll take me back into the solution. So a very powerful way of providing proactive insight for project managers utilizing Now Assist. Now let's go back to the PowerPoint. And what we're going to talk to now is what's coming, what's around the corner. And what I'm going to introduce now is something we're looking to roll out with inside Yokohama around AI agents. So very much where we've been in 2024 is around phase 3 of AI, around conversational workflows. And you saw through those examples that I showcased quickly there, where the human is actually engaging with Now Assist, asking Now Assist to perform actions in order to help that persona do their particular work. Now, fast forward into 2025, and everybody's talking about agentic AI and the use of AI agents. This promises to be the most transformational thing to happen to the SPM lifecycle for 30 years. And I've been working in SPM for all of that time. It's a really exciting prospect where we can have agents proactively working and helping facilitate personas right the way across the end-to-end process. So what does that actually look like? So from an SPM standpoint, what we're looking to do is provide AI agents that are persona driven. So whether they're targeted towards an executive, a portfolio owner, or a project and resource manager, we're effectively looking to create these agents to actually perform specific activities or to understand specific use cases. And what's exciting about them is you're effectively creating a system of agents. Those agents are going to work together as a team in order to help analyze activities, provide suggestions and recommendations to the personas, and then actually take action based on what the human suggests needs to happen. Now, if we look at what the structure of an AI agent looks like, I'm going to take you in a moment and give you a sneak peek of the AI Agent Studio. Now, the structure is essentially we will define a use case. What is the business problem or the activity we're looking to address? And we're going to provide some natural language description of what that looks like. What we'll then do is define a trigger of what will kick off agents looking at this particular use case. Now, it could be user-driven. But the power of AI agents is in that trigger being machine driven. Something happening in a database, a record being created, a field being updated, an API call, whatever that may be. And from that trigger, that will kick into what we call the AI agent orchestrator. Now, what the AI agent orchestrator will do, will identify from that trigger if this particular use case is relevant. And then from that, we'll look then to trigger off the specific AI agents needed to actually work on solving that particular business problem. Now, the AI agents themselves, think about them as having specific jobs to do. And again, I'll show you an example in a moment. But what they'll do is one of them might be to collect information. One might be present information back to the persona. One might be to take an action like create a record or something like that. Now, the key element of those AI agents, as they're looking to do their tasks, their activities will be defined through a prompt, and then associated with those agents will be what we call tools. And these tools are what the agents will utilize to interact with information, whether it's Now Assist skills or whether it's scripts as we would do in a, say, business rule, or using workflow, using things like RAG where we're looking at different things with inside documentation. Those tools will be utilized by the agent to help them perform their task in order to help us solve that business problem. Now let's quickly jump in and see what that looks like. So I'm now taking you into the AI Agent Studio. So as I say, this is now something will be rolled out with inside Yokohama. The examples I'm going to take you through now are just examples I've created as we've gone through, but show sort of the direction of travel that we're looking to do from an AI agent's perspective with inside strategic portfolio management. So the example I'm going to use is around application rationalization, because this is one that's got a lot of people excited in various different industry sectors. The first step is we define our use case. So as we can see, one use case, application rationalization, using AI agents to automatically assist architects in rationalizing their business applications. So I drill into my use case. We've got a description of what the use case is, and we've got some AI instructions in a basic prompt telling me what's going to happen here in terms of how this use case is going to happen. So it's going to be kicked off by an update to an objective. And then what we're going to ask it to do is identify the overall analysis of our business application portfolio to give us some cost information. The next step will be then to identify some candidates to help us meet those cost targets. And then on approval, we're going to create some demand records. Now, the trigger we define in this case is just a simple trigger based on some information from a KPI, an OKR within inside SPM, where we've got a change in target. So it's going to recognize that change in target, which will then kick off this particular use case. But as I say, that trigger can be any activity. And then you'll notice at the bottom here, we've got 3 agents that are related to activities that we're going to perform in this use case. So the first agent is to go away and find me that portfolio cost information. The next one will be to identify my rationalization candidates. And the third agent is all about taking action, creating those demand records. So if you look in terms of, say, let's take the cost analysis agent. Again, we describe what the agent is. We give a description of what the agent is for and what its expertise is. And then we provide a prompt in terms of what we're asking the agent to do and how it's there to get its information and how it should be then presenting its information. So a simple prompt language. Allied to that, as I mentioned, we then provide a series of tools. In this case, I've got a single tool. This one is a script, but we can add different tools, and they could be scripts, analysis skills, using retrieval augmented generation, i.e. if we're going to information with inside documentation, or using workflow, i.e. Flow Designer to create flows to support. So lots of different tools, and you can have multiple tools supporting each of the agents. So from creating that structure, what you can then do is take it into testing. And that's well, I'm just going to take you across into here. So prior to the session today, what I did was go into testing, identified the use case we wanted to test, i.e. application rationalization. I gave it an instruction in terms of what I wanted to mimic, i.e. in this case, we're going to reduce the legacy spend for HR applications by 50%. And then I clicked on test. Inside the studio, then what happens is on the left-hand side, you have a mimic of what you would see in the Now Assist panel from the information that the use case will provide. And as you can see, we can see at the top here that first agent has gone through and it's provided me with that analysis of the cost information around our portfolio. So total cost of applications, what our new rationalization cost target actually means, I reduced by 50%. The fact we've already got 8 million worth of savings already identified, so it's telling me I need to find an extra 5 million worth of savings. What it's then gone on to do, that second agent has kicked in and identified a series of applications and provided information per application, including the potential cost saving of that application, to identify what those candidates could be in order to help me reach that 5.3 million from a savings perspective. In fact, it's identified a potential 12.4. So from here, I can sort of engage with that um, response. And it's the other thing I should say, some of these are being identified as critical business systems. So we can see, for example, our Workday system is a critical business system. We probably don't need to get rid of that. So I can say remove critical business systems, for example. So I can actually mimic what would happen inside the panel, and the agents will kick in. That central area will then show how the various agents are engaging with each other. So I can see how the orchestrator is communicating with the different agents. And on the right-hand side, I've got full visibility in terms of what's happened and the thought process that has gone on with the agents as they go through. So if I look at these various elements, it gives me a view of activities that have happened and the things that it's been asked to do. And this is really useful in terms of as you create new agents and as you're looking at how the agents are running, you can actually go through and identify how those agents work. So as you can see, AI agents are going to be a really powerful capability. And just to finish off, my final slide, and just to let you know, as part of what we're looking to do with inside Yokohama, so subject to safe harbor, will be our first AI agent. That will be around project task monitoring, so an agent aimed at the project manager, and it will look to provide a project manager with insight to what's happening with inside their project and summarize information around their project tasks, their resources and milestones as things happen with inside the project. So if you think in terms of the great step forward we made with the project insights email summary that we released in November, the AI agent will take that to the next level by providing this insight as things happen and notify the project manager. So look out for that as part of what we're going to deliver in Yokohama. So with that, Deborah, I'm going to hand back to you.
Thank you, James. That was absolutely awesome. I do feel smarter and definitely more excited about all these great AI capabilities. We do have a few events and resources to share that we're sure you'll find helpful. First of all, on March 13th and 14th, we're thrilled to once again offer our biannual SPM Vision Series. You'll experience discussions and demos from our team at ServiceNow and customers like you on how you can gain value from SPM. March 20th and 21st is our biannual Enterprise Architecture Vision Series with a similar format to the SPM Vision Series. And then our next SPM Academy is What's New in Yokohama for SPM Enterprise Architecture and Collaborative Work Management. That's on Thursday, March 27th. And on Thursday, April 24th, we'll be covering resource management. And you can register for those and any of these events at community.servicenow.com under events. Of course, our knowledge event, our largest customer event of the year, 3 amazing days in Las Vegas, May 6th to 8th. Scan this QR code for all the details about it. We're also doing AI summits. We have them underway, and there are many more over the next several months, all across the globe, where you can learn about all of ServiceNow's AI initiatives, including SPM. And then finally, check out ai@servicenow.com for a central location for all ServiceNow AI resources, tons of information there. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much, James. Thank you to my co-producer, John Lim. And a huge thank you, as always, to our Last Thursday's SPM Academy audience for joining us as we begin our 6th year of SPM Academy. We'll see you at our next webinar.